Good morning, everyone. December 23rd. We are almost to some holidays. Today's topics. Corey's going to talk about Santa Claus rally. So if you are invested in the markets, there's been past trends of good news around this time. So he'll hit on that. I'm going to talk about the exciting world of Trump and TikTok. Now, how these things are combined, we'll hit on that. And then last, Apple, one of our biggest holdings, actually probably the biggest stock holding we have, is talking about getting in the doorbell business. What? Doorbells? So anyways, we'll talk about that in Apple, where it expands from here. Before I get started, this is a financial education presentation. You must do your own due diligence on anything that you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information can be found on ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine and Corey's alone. So let me start off. I will cover Trump and TikTok. So I'm sharing my screen right here. And on the video, it's interesting because it's kind of like Trump's talking about, oh, if you're 36 or 40, you got to start thinking about TikTok. I'm well past that. Dabbled in TikTok for about 20 minutes with my daughter once. What we're hearing about TikTok is, it's a Chinese company out of ByteDance, and certainly concerns about, I don't know, information. And I imagine TikTok and the Chinese government could be collecting all this information on the viewing habits of my teenagers. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do with all that. But anyways, that is the concern on why it may be banned or at least forced to sell off of out of a Chinese company. I know that when the initial ban discussion came out, companies like Facebook or Meta, went up because they thought, well, there's less competition. So it's just interesting as Trump talks a lot about tariffs on China that he talks about possibly, and this just came out yesterday, he favored allowing TikTok to keep operating in the United States for at least a little while, saying he has received billions of views on the social media platform. Just guessing, if he had not received billions of views, it would be on the chopping block. But I guess that this is how you maybe get some favoritism with Trump. So I thought it was funny. We'll see where this goes. Next interesting article is Apple is working on a doorbell camera with its Face ID. And as you think of a company like Apple and obviously iPhones and watches and just AirPods, so many things, where could they go next that they would be effective? And Face IDs and doorbell cameras, looks like it seems like a good profitable area that you could easily tie into your iPhone, watch, and such. So when I saw this, I thought this is not bad. I know there's a few companies that are already in that business. I can't remember which company I use. It's not obviously Apple, but would I consider going to Apple if they were cost competitive and it all hooked to my iPhone? Absolutely. So um, so you always think, is Apple so big that it can't grow anymore? Is there anything else it can go? Here's an example of something else it can dive into. And I wanted to just show Apple stock year to date. So let me pull the year to date because it's trading at an all-time high. So since this was definitely our largest holding coming into 2024, and I know when we hit that March and April timeframe where Apple had sold down from about 200 down to 170 or so, we even had some investors saying, "Hey, I think I'm gonna give up on Apple and I'm gonna switch to, it might have been Bitcoin, it could have been anything, but and you said, well, maybe Apple's finally hit its, max. Maybe it's just going to slide. And you can tell by this chart that it did not. It shot up all the way to a 52-week high. It is trading up. I think it's 32% on the year. Let me scroll down. Yeah, 32% up this year. So How can a huge, massive company grow 32% in a year? There you go. It just did it, which is higher than the S&P 500, higher than the NASDAQ, and continues to be an absolute core holding that we have. So with that, and Apple could go get higher, Christmas right around the corner here, gifts, it's always nice to give a nice Apple product as a gift. So Corey, talk about a Santa Claus rally.
Yeah, so Santa Claus isn't coming tomorrow. My kids would like that, but they're gonna have to wait another day. Actually, my one of my kids has been doing an hour by hour countdown. And yeah, we're in as of this morning during breakfast, we were under 50 hours. So I think he was actually right at 40 hours. So there's a lot of excitement there, but that's for the younger crowd. What about us, seasoned investors? We're waiting for the Santa Claus rally. And that's the last 5 trading days of December and the first 2 trading days of January. So that's always a little different depending on the holidays, days of the week, and all that. But for this year, it starts tomorrow. So since 1950, during this 7-day trading window, the S&P 500 has gained an average of 1.3% and been positive 79% of the time. I wouldn't want to bet against that. Now, one thing to keep in mind with a rally or a drop, last year we did not get a Santa Claus rally, but this is the S&P 500 over the last month, and here's today, December 23rd. Typically these holiday weeks, travel weeks, where you get the markets closed, people are with family, you will get what's called lower volume. So that's one thing we'll want to be mindful of. The market is down about 1/3% today, and it is on, at least for the morning so far, a little bit lower volume. So what that means when you get either a rally or a drop on lower volume, it just means that the price discovery on that particular day is probably not as pure as a normal day. Not that any normal day is super, super pure on its own. But if you're having low volume, it's people aren't expressing their opinions to sell or buy with a ton of conviction. It's really just a little bit of price activity for people to, transact that day. So we'd expect to see low volume this week. And that's one reason you can get a Santa Claus rally. People aren't really making huge changes. It's just people feeling good around the holidays and wanting to put in a couple extra purchases. That's really all I had. And I think I'm going to call my shot. We get a Santa Claus rally this year.
All right. Yes. Well, considering there was a mid-December, I don't know what holiday we'd call that, a mid-December sell-off of 5 or 6%. I hope we get a
Grinch was trying to get us.
The early Grinch negative holidays, and that was a sell-off with some conviction. So I agree. With that sell-off, I certainly think there's a great chance of a Santa Claus rally. I'll say yes, I agree. 80%, it's hard to go against that. But especially with that lead-in of the sell-off, it makes me feel much more comfortable there will. And then obviously going into a new year, January, we'll be talking a lot about Januaries, positive Januaries, positive years, negative Januaries, borderline, just neutral type years. I know last year or this year, we had a very positive January and it's continued through the year. So I know that's going to be a big topic of discussion. I'd rather stay down in December and have a positive January. So that's my preference, but I believe we'll get some kick here this last few days. So with that, I think we're off. Well, we probably won't have a show tomorrow, but we'll have a show later at this week after Christmas, and we'll see what the markets do. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.